So one of the questions we get fairly often is, can you use my material? And so before I answer that, I just want to look at why that question comes up sometimes, and usually it's for one of two reasons. One, sometimes people already have the material because they thought they were going to do the project themselves, or the project was being done by another contractor and things went wrong for some reason. And sometimes we do get called into other projects that are already started, and we get asked to help get them back on track. And so that's one instance. The other scenario is sometimes people want to save some money on their project and they want to go to Menards and get an 11% rebate, or they may think that we mark up materials and they want to save the difference on that markup. So the short answer to this question is most of the time we want to be the ones to provide the material for the project. And there's a couple of reasons for that. First one is we've worked hard to build quality relationships with our vendors. And we're an established company and we do a fair bit of volume, so we usually get good discounts from our vendors for the materials that we're buying from them. So we pass those savings on to you, so that makes your project a little bit more efficient. Another reason we want to provide the material ourselves is for an efficient workflow. If you could imagine, we have a lot of projects going on at a time, and there's usually anywhere between 80 and 140 projects in our queue that we're working on and preparing to complete. If we're depending on someone outside of our process or outside of our company to provide things for the project, it's the classic example of too many chefs in the kitchen, where if there's 4 chefs in the kitchen and they all put salt in the soup turns out too salty. We like to control as many pieces of the project as we can to make sure that we deliver a better experience for you and have an efficient process that we know we can take care of. Another thing that can come up if we don't provide the material is just inconsistency in being able to address issues with the products themselves. Again, we've worked hard to build vendor relationships with quality vendors. We've become much more choosy in the products that we will install on a customer's home, because we've found the vendors in the marketplace that are really willing to stand behind their products. And if something comes up, we know we can go to them and say, hey, we found this defect, or this isn't looking right, can you make this right? And they do. But if we're dealing with products that have been sitting on a shelf for a while, or they came from a vendor that we're not used to working with, if something comes up, we're unable to control what the outcome might be with that, and that kind of slows things down or might get dragged out. And then speaking of defects, if there is a problem with the material, there's just a lot of gray area and muddiness as to whose responsibility that is to deal with it. The short answer to the question of can we use your material is typically we want to be the ones to provide the material for the project for the reasons that I just stated. The exception that we do make sometimes is if the project is already underway and we're kind of stepping in to help out to get a project back on track. I hope this answers that question. If you need any more clarity on that, or you're unsure if your project would qualify if you've already got the material, feel free to reach out to us. We do our best to work with that. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. Thank you.